You massively underestimate volume. I think a lot of people massively underestimate the wisdom of embodying a high amount of action to create a high amount of volume and momentum towards our goals and aspirations. You know, this was really communicated to me. Like I knew this when I first heard this idea. I really resonated with it, but I really didn't see the power of this idea until I started tracking my own time with how much time I wrote my book using little pieces of raw pasta. And what I did was I set a minimum quota for how much I had to focus on my book every single day. And for me, this quota was 4 25-minute time blocks a day, or otherwise known as a Pomodoro. Right? So I would actually pull out 4 pieces of pasta to represent the amount of work that I had to do that day. And then every time I did 25 minutes, I'll have a little timer, I hit start, and when it rings, I put a piece of pasta into a jar. And I will start to track my progress in this way. And I'll actually show you the jar. One sec. All right, there we go. Here's the jar. And yeah, that's all the pieces that I got tracking right now. And as you can see, there's a 3 on there because I filled already 3 jars with this time tracking technique because it's just so damn motivating to just see your progress manifested with a visual image. And so what I also noticed when doing this is that every day that it doesn't matter how much progress I get done, every single day I would pull out 4 pieces. And what ended up happening was back in November, when I faced November of 2022, I faced an ego backlash where I ended up missing 10 days of writing my book, and so that's just beyond ludicrous. And what ended up happening was I had 40 pieces of raw pasta just on my desk, just a huge mess. And it just showed me that it's better just to put the work in every single day and put the volume in every single day as opposed to, infrequent bursts of productivity, infrequent bursts of energy. There are times, when I first wrote my book, I made a massive push and a massive burst towards writing my book. I remember just mind mapping my plan for the book, making a mind map. And it took me I was just 8 hours just mind mapping straight and brainstorming or something, some stupid number like that. I was mind mapping till 6 a.m. just to get all my ideas out. And yeah, there is a time and place for bursts, but when it comes to actually finishing a project and actually making progress, you need to prioritize volume. Same thing with working out. If you really want to get fit and build a lot of strength, then you need to get the volume of reps in, right? And the volume of weight. Volume of weight lifted overall. You need to raise that number. And then there's training regimes or training regimens around this philosophy called German volume training, where you're training for high amounts of volume. And as a result, you can create some pretty crazy results if you can have the guts to follow that regimen. So, for for any project you have, like treat it like German volume training. If you really want to move the needle every single day, and if you really want to ensure you have progress, really prioritize just putting in that daily work, putting in that daily volume, and you'd be surprised just how much you can get done just by thinking about your productivity in this manner. You know, it's along the lines of the tortoise winning the race. You know, it's that slow, for sure, steady progress, right? When it comes to self-improvement, it's always that slow, steady progress that's going to allow you to go the farthest. And that's what I've been really learning, is that, for example, with running my book, it has been a Herculean task to be able to face my book every single day, you know, especially when it was in its, especially how it looked like 5 months ago, you know, where it's just mess after mess after mess to clean up and actually make into like a coherent piece of work. What I needed there was to use the philosophy of approaching volume, you know, putting volume of time into it. And so for me, 100 minutes a day was my minimum standard. You know, there's this whole idea of the law of 100. And so 100 minutes is what I chose to do for this project, right? 100 minutes a day. But that does remind me as well as, you know, 100 hours. You know, there's this idea where it's like, put 100 hours towards something and just see how you feel after doing that, you know. And it's incredible to watch how much we can grow, how much progress we can make when we just put 100 hours towards something. We can create a result that we're really proud of. When was the last time you committed 100 hours to a personal project, or, you know, to your own personal self-improvement plan? When was the last time you did that? You know, if you're frustrated with your results, then ask yourself, you know, have I put 100 hours into it? And that'll be your answer. It's in the volume of your practice do you actually create the results. And so with practices that you want to have a lot of results in, exercise a high amount of volume. Like right now, I'm managing to stay pretty consistent with it. I'm able to write for 10 Pomodoros a day. So, you know, roughly 4 to 5 hours. And so that leads me to like putting around like 30 hours a week into my book. And I'm noticing like every single week, you know, I've got so much progress completed on my book. It's ridiculous. And I'm able to fill that jar way faster now. And so I'm just really exercising that philosophy now of like just high volume. You know, even when it comes to, for example, practicing socialization, right? And practicing talking to women, all that stuff. It's the high amount of volume that's going to get you somewhere. You know, if you just do like 5 approaches a night, then you're not going to get that high volume in, right? Well, I'm talking like getting like 20, 30, 40, 50 approaches in a single like 5-hour session or whatever, right? Or another way to look at it is like, make it such that you're talking in like a 5-hour session, make it sure that you're talking to someone for at least like 3 hours, like in volume, right? That kind of thing, right? If you really want to improve your socialization, that would be a decent way to look at it. It's in the volume of exposure. It's in the volume of practice, right? Same with the weightlifting. It's about the volume of weight you lift, right? It's about, when it comes to projects, it's about the volume of like things you complete, or the volume of time you put in, or the volume of words you write. It's like when I first wrote my book, it was about the volume of words. right? Where I wanted to write for a while. For a little bit, I was writing at a goal of 5,000 words a day. But overall, I was writing at minimum 3,000 words a day. And this is just in the first month, so I can get like 60,000 words down in my first book, in my book in the first month. Now, I made a lot of mess, and maybe I made a lot of a pain in the ass for myself later, but I needed to do that to rid myself of the negative belief that I couldn't even write enough content for a book. And lo and behold, now I'm at like 124,000 words in my main document and like 80,000 words in my trash document. And that was just done by just putting in work every single day. So it does stack up. And so with any skill you want to complete, it's in the volume. I think about, for me, I want to coach people. And I'm like, well, if I want to be a great life coach, I just need to get a high volume of clients. So instead of like prioritizing like high ticket clients, before I, if I really want to build my skill, get as many clients as I can. Doesn't matter what the price is. Right? That's where like a huge philosophy around people will just get clients for experience, that kind of thing, right? Because they're prioritizing the volume. If I want to get good at painting, I got to paint several paintings, right? Paint like 100 paintings a year, right? Something like that. Crazy amount. If I want to get really good and also spend volume of time, like studying videos, like how to paint clouds in acrylic, right? That kind of thing. See, it's all about the volume you put into things. So if you're struggling in a certain area in your life right now, ask yourself, how much volume am I putting into it? So a lot of times it's just going to be volume of time, but other times it's going to be like a specific number, a weight that you lift, the amount of approaches that you do, the amount of times that you go out, the amount of paintings that you create, the amount of clients that you have, and then the amount of time you spend with your clients. Whatever it is for you, ask what is that thing that you track to keep track of your volume. And so try not to underestimate the power of just putting in massive amounts of volume. You're going to get way farther by just putting in massive amounts of volume towards your craft, towards your life purpose, towards your vision. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.